Hey, so wanted to do a video where I kind of like discuss some of my maybe hot takes or controversial opinions on some firearms stuff. One of them is more of a topical, like recent event kind of thing. But I'll save that one for the end, and kind of talk about, we'll use two others as a sort of warm up. So the first one I want to talk about is 300 Blackout. I'll start by saying I don't get it. I mean, like, I understand the purpose of 300 Blackout is to be a subsonic round, so it's much better to have it suppressed, which is much better for your hearing and all the other implications that come with running suppressed. But I feel like not a lot of shooters overall run suppressed, or even have suppressors, or even have access to suppressors. Suppressors are definitely a lot more commonplace than they used to be, and that's ultimately a good thing. But I think your average, everyday, standard shooter, AR-15 owner, whatever you want to call them, really should not even concern themselves with 300 Blackout. And especially not if they have no intention of running suppressed. If you have no intention of running suppressed, there's really no point in running 300 Blackout. It's going to be way more convenient and affordable and effective, really, to just stick with 5.56 223, or you know, whatever your preferred combat rifle is. Maybe it's 7.62 39, maybe it's 7.62 52, or 51 rather. So, you know, just hot take, if you're not running suppressed, you have no reason to have 300 Blackout. That's the hot thing. And to a smaller extent, I kind of want to just tack on there, if you're not running night vision, you have no need for IR, which means you probably have no need for a fucking PEC 15. A standard weapon laser and standard weapon light will work just fine, and you don't need to have a PEC 15. Now, conversely, if you are thinking ahead and thinking like future-proofing kind of thing, and thinking that someday you will have night vision, or if you're being really, really galaxy brained, you think night vision will someday be more affordable, then maybe you could go ahead and justify the investment in a PEC 15. That being said, they're fucking expensive. So, I don't know. I'm just saying, if you don't already have night vision, or you don't have a plan to pursue night vision, I don't think you should be getting a PEC 15. I think you should probably invest in just a better weapon light and a better weapon laser, if you need a weapon laser. Most people don't want a weapon laser. But anywho, that was the first topic. Second topic is just the odds of negligent discharge in relation to keeping a weapon loaded. So, I've talked about this a little bit before. I've touched on it sometimes. But I personally do not keep any of my weapons loaded. There is not a single firearm in my home that has a round already chambered, and I will never keep it that way, or I will never have it that way. I do not feel comfortable personally having a round chambered in a weapon unless I am ready to fire that weapon. That's an extra step beyond the traditional treat a gun like it's loaded. I personally will treat a gun like I don't want it loaded until I need to have it loaded. I want that round chambered into battery as a direct action of me intending to fire it. And even though this is my personal opinion and what I personally do for myself, I do advocate that that should be a more common approach to firearms and firearms handling. And I'm going to tell you why. For those who carry concealed, or carry as part of their duty, or carry as part of their job, you are carrying a weapon on you for the majority of your day. You are carrying that weapon on you if you're working every day for a majority of your life. You know, there is ultimately going to be roughly a quarter, if not a third of your life where you have a weapon on you. And if you are keeping that weapon loaded to the point where there's a round in the chamber, that just means that every single time that there is a potential for that trigger to be brushed, or that trigger to be caught, or that, you know, that weapon to be, negligently discharged in any way, shape, or form, if any kind of foreign object was to interfere with the trigger mechanism, or to, prematurely actuate the firing pin, or the hammer, or whatever, then there is a potential for negligent discharge. If you don't have a round in the chamber of that weapon, there is no potential for that. Now you might say, like, well, in a active shooter response where you have to draw your weapon and fire, it's gonna fucking suck to have that extra action of having to cycle around or to load a round in the battery. And I would say, yeah, obviously that is going to be unfortunate. However, it should be no different than the response of removing your gun from its holster. That's a step. And disengaging the safety. That's a step. And I understand a lot of people probably just have fucking Glocks or some shit that don't even have a fucking safety. But I just think it should be part of the total overall responsibility of a gun owner who actually uses their firearms to keep it even safer, not just for others, but for yourself. Because if your gun is on you and it negligently discharges, who is the closest one to the target, or the closest one to the firearm? It's you. So odds are it's going to hurt you more than anyone else. So in regards to that, I just think ultimately the safest thing to avoid negligent discharge is just to not have a round in the chamber. You can cycle around, you can rack the slide, when you absolutely need to. And that's going to be tricky under pressure, but so is everything else. If your excuse is, well, that's difficult under pressure, everything's difficult under pressure. But you're going to be much safer overall in the grand scheme of things if you don't keep a round in the chamber. Because how many people actually get into an engagement where they actually have to draw their weapon and fire on another human being? Almost nobody. Almost nobody ever has to do that. Now, how many people have potentially harmed themselves or others due to negligent discharge? A lot more. A lot more people have done that than people who have pulled their weapon and had to use it on another person. So think of the overall likelihood of, am I more likely to, end up losing a gunfight because I had to rack the slide? Or am I more likely to accidentally have my gun catch on my pocket or whatever and fucking shoot me in the leg? Because I don't think you really need to do too much digging into the actual numbers to realize that it's probably the latter that is more likely. And then just to kind of dunk on myself a little bit more, I'm actually so cautious about this particular issue that most of my firearms in my home don't even have loaded magazines inside of them. For one, I mostly keep my magazines that are loaded separate from my weapons. But for some weapons, I don't even keep the magazines themselves loaded. And just recently, I've actually kind of had a change of thought, or change of mind, rather, in keeping my loose ammunition on stripper clips. And I'm actually kind of in the process of converting at least most of my loaded magazines into loaded stripper clips instead. I guess I had never been totally aware of just how easy the use of a stripper clip makes loading a magazine. And so, like, now that, like, I know that, and I've, like, seen, like, someone do it, I'm like, wow, that is really easy. Like, it actually makes a lot of sense to just have stripper clips instead of loaded magazines, because then when you need to load magazines, like, it's not that hard. But anywho, that's my second topic of discussion. The big one that I want to talk about today is the ATF's upcoming pistol brace ban. I have kind of a hot take on this, and I think most gun owners and people in the 2A community are going to be pretty upset about it, but here goes. I think we all should have seen this coming. I think everyone should have known better, and should have never bought into the pistol brace as a part of their firearms. And you're probably already fucking, like, typing in the comments or screaming your head off or whatever, but, like, think about it, okay? When the pistol brace entered the firearms community as a device to be used to assist with a pistol, right? Which is a firearm that is one-handed. This was originally done so with the marketing idea that it would be to help people who are disabled, or people who, you know, disabled veterans specifically. So that's a nice gesture. It's a nice market idea, right? But that original concept has been heavily abused, and that's not up for debate. That's not up for argument. Like, the ATF is absolutely fucking right in their assessment that the intended purpose of this device has been abused and has been, you know, gone against its intended use. Absolutely fucking nobody actually undoes the Velcro, puts it on their arm, and uses it as an actual genuine stabilizing brace. That's a fucking joke. That's a fucking meme. Nobody does that. And if you want to try and contest that, like, go ahead. You're just objectively wrong. The overwhelming majority of people who have bought pistol braces did so that they could have a free SBR that is a loophole to the NFA system, so that they could have a pistol instead of a short-barreled rifle. And that has completely changed the industry, in that AR-15s with barrel lengths below 16 inches are extremely common. It's even infected other calibers, or not other calibers, but other platforms. You know, you've got AK-47s that are now shorter than 16 inches. You've now got, you know, the fucking, like, all these other fucking, like, guns that, like, never would have been acceptable before, but now suddenly are because of, you know, pistol braces. So it makes sense that the ATF wants to go after this, because the pistol brace is ultimately what has led to this issue. You get rid of the pistol brace, and suddenly all of these other platforms, you know, are no longer available. And obviously, it makes sense to be mad at the ATF for this, because are they affecting millions and millions of Americans? Yes, they absolutely are. And the audacity of that, like, don't get me wrong, like, they're fucking stupid on this one, because this is going to cause mass non-compliance. But conversely, at least on principle and on paper, it all makes sense. And they're not in the wrong for doing this, because this has become, it was already mass non-compliance, or mass, loophole is really what it was. It was a huge loophole in the firearms industry system, whatever you want to call it, legal process, and everyone and their fucking dog just took advantage of it. It's like, another example is like binary triggers. Binary triggers are a loophole. You technically are not firing more than one round per trigger pull, because it's firing another round on the reset, not the actual pull. That will also probably end up as another fucking, that's gonna be next on the fucking ATF's bucket list of shit to fucking go after and kill, because you're still firing a gun ultimately as fast, if not faster, than an automatic trigger would, or an automatic system would. Some people might say well, there's no way a binary trigger fires as fast as automatic, but there's videos out there. You can go look for them, go watch them. There's videos where people are able to fire as fast, if not faster, than automatic triggers with a binary trigger. Now, those people trained on the binary trigger, so it's a skill thing. Don't get me wrong. This is probably up there with fucking Jerry level fucking shooting skill, but it's possible. So yeah, I ultimately think everyone who bought into the pistol brace and bought into short-barreled pistols for their AR-15s over the last 10-15 years or so, they knew this was coming. You had to have known. Did you all really think the ATF was just gonna let it go? Don't get me wrong, they're stupid, and as a result, they've let it go way longer than it ever should have gone. But I'm sure they had a bunch of fucking loopholes or they had to build data, they had to build case law and whatnot. So yeah, and I guess the more important thing is, has anyone ever used a AR pistol or whatever in a violent crime? Not many, I'd imagine. I haven't looked up any of the statistics or the data myself, but realistically, only the most avid of gun enthusiasts even have considered touching these kind of weapons. Most typical firearms enthusiasts, or just sportsmen or hunters or whatever, they don't ever touch any of this stuff. None of them have pistol braces unless they legitimately needed them, and are one of the absolutely fucking blue moon rare cases of people who genuinely fit the description of the intended audience and intended demographic for that product. And I feel terrible for those people, because I'm sure there's at least a small, but still significant portion of the population that legitimately did need this product and legitimately did have use for it. But now, because all of these folks in this community have abused a loophole, they've got to close it up. They've got to close it up for pretty much fucking everybody. And I kind of want to talk about a little bit of this is going to be a bonus point, but jumping off of that, some folks have thought that in contesting this particular brace ban, that there might be a path towards potentially undoing the NFA or repealing the NFA. And that honestly scares the shit out of me. And it's not because I'm afraid of automatic weapons or I'm afraid of short-barreled rifles or anything like that. No, it scares the shit out of me because if you think about it for more than a fucking minute, okay, if suddenly in a year the NFA is completely undone, repealed. The National Firearms Act is dead. And everyone can own automatic weapons. Do you know what the fuck that is going to do to the price of ammunition? If everyone and their fucking dog can fucking just mag dump full auto at the local fucking gun range, what do you think that is going to do to the cost of ammunition? People are going to be burning through ammunition so much faster and in such higher quantities. You know, you're going to have your whales, you know, like your YouTubers and whatnot that already buy like millions and millions of rounds that are going to be fucking buying even more, okay? You're going to buy your military doesn't care, but you're going to have your fucking I don't necessarily know if police use auto or not, but I mean, if they start using it or whatever, then again, there's another whatever. Competition shooters that need to fucking practice are gonna start going through like way more fucking full auto. And then you've got your fucking like Uncle Fudd fuckers who, you know, just love fucking blowing shit up. And don't get me wrong, yeehaw, I'm like right there with you. But like, yeah, it's honestly a logistical nightmare to think of the ammunition economy that we're in right now, or have been in for quite some time, suddenly being hit with, oh hey, full auto's okay. Like, oh no. Please no. I keep it semi. Keep it semi. That's all I'm gonna say. So anywho, those are all my hot takes for the day, for the week. Maybe, I don't know. I'm probably not gonna do this regularly, but we'll see. Maybe it becomes popular. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions on the comments. Go ahead and tell me what an idiot I am. Tell me how wrong I am. That's another great thing about doing these type of videos, is like, if I am wrong, or if I'm even blatantly wrong, it's an opportunity to learn. And, you know, learning is a good thing, and people should be open to being wrong. I've had a lot of experiences in my life where I had a festering, quiet opinion, and I shared it with everyone, and everyone shit on me and told me why I was wrong, and opened my eyes to exactly why I was wrong. If you sit with your little opinion and you never actually share it with anyone, you never have the opportunity to know why your shitty little opinion was only yours. Oftentimes, if you've got like a little personal opinion and everyone else disagrees with it, there's a good chance there's a good reason why that is. So honestly, just share your opinions, you know, just get them out there and test them. That's the best thing, honestly, to do, like, as a human being, is just share your thoughts and offer what you think to the world in order to either reinforce your opinion and validate yourself and feel great about, you know, being in the right and being smart and having a good perspective, or alternatively, be challenged, be wrong, and learn to grow from that. It's a good thing to do as a human being. It's a good experience. So, but we won't get into the philosophical stuff. This is a gun topic, gun video. So, thank you all. Have a great day, evening, morning, whatever it is, and I'll catch you next time.